Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and a big welcome to you on this Friday, or maybe it's Saturday, wherever you are. This is USA Global TV and Radio, whether you're watching us on a television platform or listening on a radio platform or on a future podcast platform. Thank you for being here, and please help spread the word about our programming as we provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is presenting Pet Psychic AMINAH, and you know how much I love to do this if you're a regular follower. I now present Pet Psychic AMINAH.
We really got to get crowns.
We really do. I mean, these headphones are not the same thing, but I just saw, by the way,
we could bedazzle them.
Crown. We could. I used to have a bedazzler.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they're fun. I'm working on a project called Woman of Heart Awards, which is led by Princess Desiree Richardson. And someone is crowned every year. And the woman who was for 2021, she had this beautiful, magnificent crown. I thought, I want one of those.
Yeah, but after 15 minutes, you're going to want a new neck, head.
Yes.
Because even if it's made out of cardboard, I'm sorry, that looks really heavy.
It's not meant to be on your head that long. I think that's why you have to sit perfectly still and not move.
Yeah.
But I want to say you're looking quite lovely today. And I just noticed the blouse that you have on. What are your thoughts? I already know this answer, but it's a TV show. What are your thoughts about wearing fur?
You're really going to go there.
I know I got to do it. Tell me.
You got to do it. Well, you can imagine I don't own anything that real. I don't even think I own very much leather. My tennis shoes are canvas. They are not leather. Even my tennis shoes that are athletic shoes. So there's not a lot of that in my life. Did it take time to find manufacturers? Did it take time to go to other suppliers and find shoes, clothes that you can support? Yes. What we're really fortunate is this day, this age, this era we are in. Everybody, I always look at what's the good side on many, many fronts. Sure, we all have to get through the bad part. But when you go through pandemics, when you go through lack of food, lack of housing, lack of anything that you consider day-to-day essentials, wearing shoes is not necessarily ability for everybody in the world to even have shoes. You go to the third world countries, you go to a lot of, they're wearing sandals or their feet are pretty tough, because it's not everybody has the same access to the same, what do I want to say, supplies and tools and marketplaces for these types of things. So we make do. I've seen people make sandals out of grape leaves or palm leaves, all these type of stuff. So to be in a country, I'm in the United States, that has the ability for me to literally go to a mall or any other place almost and try on lots of different shoes. That is not everybody's ability. So what I want to say, Dr. Jacalyn, is you have to know what somebody's capabilities of not choosing an animal product is. And we are too fast to judge. I am here to say, I'm going to work at it and be better. So I'm saying, please don't judge. It has to start with me. So does cotton, the fabric I'm wearing, steel resources from the earth that we're going to need later? Yes. But we're doing it better. We're farming better. So again, I would hope everybody would not wear animals, but somebody has to make the threads. Somebody has to make the leather. There's animals that are passing away or have died, or they sourced them from organic sources that these things come from. I'm not going to give a blanket statement of, oh, it's all bad, it's terrible. Well, I'd love that, but we also have to figure out how we get from day to day. Everybody was put on the earth for a plan. I don't know that plan. I don't know if you know that plan, but we can do better as far as coexisting. You know, that's my big banner line over my head is coexisting, whatever that means. Because even the spiders, you'll love them when the mosquitoes come by. Even the spiders and the creepy crawlies that scare us in the night or all day long, they have a purpose. So would I like to see us all wear natural fabric? Yes. Yes, I would.
Well, I love how you just gave that answer, and there was literally no judgment, because in some places, maybe someone's on an island and Amazon doesn't ship there. I don't know, but you bring up some really good points.
Well, it's true. I think they ship everywhere. We'll have
Yeah.
to talk to the CEO.
Yeah, exactly. But title today is an interesting one. And for anyone who's ever owned a dog or will own a dog, dogs have emotions just like we do, and dogs get depressed. And I feel we discussed this before, dogs can sense our energy level as well. What are some signs that your dog is depressed or feeling blue?
Well, depression is really personal, as it is to every single one of us. I'm sure you have, I know I have, I'm sure family members of mine have had really bad days. And you're like, I'm closing out the world. And if it's I'm sad that day, or I'm clinically depressed, or I just need a break, that's okay. Whatever you decide to call it, you need a break. Your animals need the same. If they get depressed, if they get sad, this is something for a vet and you to look into. I am not going to judge. I would love to say, oh, that's all bogus and that's not going to happen. And then you meet an animal who's truly repressed it and pulled everything in. I have worked with a lot of, I don't want to say damaged animals, but been damaged by us, yes, but they're truly shut down because they've been hit so many times. They feel a hand is dangerous. I remember rescuing my first shepherd, and he'd been dumped in a backyard, and he was less than a year old. And there was a 6-foot by 20-foot hole in the backyard where he was dumped, because they moved. They just left him at the house. I don't know, somebody was going by once a week to feed him or something, but here's this puppy with a big old hole in the bottom. So what do I know also is I saw the hole, but do I know how they treated him? I did get told by the neighbors. I did get some inkling from the owners when I got to talk to them face to face, that there was a lot of discipline going on. A lot of, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do this. No, oh, he jumps all the time. No, he jumps all the time. Did you ask him not to? And I don't mean you went up and say, Jake, sit down, because we renamed him Jake. And I had a 12-month-old and an 18-month-old. Wow, this jumpy puppy came into our lives. So we had to learn techniques. How do you know? How do you know what they're going through? Is it sadness? Is it depression? Is it aggression? I will tell you, all of those have causes. You need to honor the animals for the personality they are. I love curmudgeons. If you don't know what a curmudgeon is, Google it, but they're just like, they're grumpy all the time. But they don't mean anything. They have no fire behind it. And it's wonderful. I have personally right now an extremely shy cat. So you walk up to her very slowly, give her lots of loving, lots of reassurance, but you don't swoop her up. You don't have little kids around. And the fast pace of the house, because she goes to ground literally under the blankets somewhere in the farthest bedroom or somewhere. So is depression that different? Is training an animal with depression different than training extreme shyness? For me, I don't see the difference. Now I'll make small changes, of course, but you got to meet people, and animals need to meet each other on the ground they're on. I have a wicked smart kitten. She's not a kitten anymore, but she seems like it. And she gets into everything. If you give her an inch, she takes a mile. So I actually bought a stroller for cats. I never thought I'd do this, but I have to meet her on her ground because I don't want her free outside killing birds, eating things, and getting lost. I live in a really, really busy roadway area. So we are in the training section of going out because it scares her, but she's very confined. She's zipped in. It looks like a stroller, but it has a net that covers it. And we do it not on a regular basis, so she doesn't get habituated. Oh, every Tuesday I need to be afraid. So do you see what I'm talking about? Is if you have a fear, honor it. And then figure out what's the most gentle way. If it was me, how would I want somebody to love me enough to acknowledge it, help me by finding out how to get past it, through it, or live with it, whatever that is. That's where I come from as far as compassion. Everybody has a bad day. Some people and dogs and cats are always having a bad day. So you have to decide if that's something you can live with.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that. What about when we identify that our pet is depressed or anxious? You mentioned contacting the vet. Are there pet therapists? I mean, is
There
there?
are. I have not worked with any of them. It's not part of anybody I have worked with personally has not had that severe of a problem. I always say go to the highest place you can, and that's your veterinarian. They're going to know who they trust. And if they blow you off, and this is something you truly feel is necessary, or you truly feel you want your pet looked at and cared for, and try it. And I have a problem with anybody professionally that goes in and says, this is the only way to do it. All phones are blue and are tiny little 6 inches. Well, that's not true. And that's true about trainers. That's true about vets. That's true about pet owners. And that's true about pets and every other bug and animal on the planet. So we can make recommendations. I get asked locally here if I know a good vet. I know a couple. So it depends on what you need. And I can give you their name and number because I've personally taken animals there, or I've personally worked with them, and I've interviewed a few of them. So you need to do your homework, but then go to people you trust that have animals that are loved and cared for. If you're going to go to your next door neighbor and you know they leave their dog outside all day long while they go to work and then they never walk them, and you've smelled the yard more than you've seen the yard, I wouldn't necessarily ask for an advice from them. Like, who are you using for a vet? It's not the vet's problem, but if they don't even use the vet, how do they actually know that this vet is any good? It is hard when you're in a new place and you don't have those resources, but there's a lot of what do they do when they rank somebody, when people have got all kinds of feedback on their sites? Go to the veterinarian university or California University or whatever is certifying veterinarians and see where they're at. Do they have any accolades? Do they have any citations? Do they even treat the type of pet you have? There's work to be done. The same with getting a doctor. I hope we don't just walk down the street and say, hey, you got an MD? I'll take you.
Yeah, that's very true. I think another question that I have is, when people are feeling depressed, I've heard put on something funny or put on some music or do something to elevate your mood. Are there any things that we as pet owners, in addition to taking them to the vet, anything that we can do to try to help with their mood?
Absolutely. And this is, and I've heard those same things. So for me personally, Dr. Jacalyn, if I heard somebody go up to you and say, oh, let's go listen to Bob Hope. I grew up on Bob Hope. Absolutely love him and Bing Crosby. But maybe that's not the medicine I need right now. Maybe your dog does need a walk, and just a quiet, calm walk where you go out. Not they're dragging you or you're dragging them. And if you don't have the walk down, don't take them for a walk, because then that's just another conflict. What I want you to do is look at who you have. Look at their personality. Look at their pros and cons. Sometimes just staying home or just sitting in the backyard, you watching TV, listening to a live cast like ours, going out and just enjoying the day. Sometimes that's the best therapy for your friends, for your family, definitely for your pet. If you're talking canines, dogs, they're pack animals. Most, I cannot say all, most will want time with you. Even if you're sitting on the couch just watching the football game or whatever, they want time with you. Why they follow you around, why they do all these other things. As I said, I have one cat out of our 3 is very shy. So her being with us is on the cat tree in catty corner to the couch when we watch television. She will sit there now and she will participate from a distance, but she also knows we come up and pet her and then we walk away. Whereas the other 2 cats are squat right down in the middle of our laps and they don't expect us to get up for hours. It's really hard. Don't drink too much. Don't need to blow your nose. Nothing. The cat doesn't know who you're dealing with and who you are, and meet them halfway. At least meet them halfway. Sometimes I encourage you, meet them with what they need at the time. If this is a really acute, sudden thing, or it's been going on, sometimes it's just great to cuddle up together and watch a good movie or talk or take a nap. All pets take naps. A lot of great naps can happen with their people. And that can be the start of bringing that animal around with whatever behavior you're dealing with. But everybody needs a break. Everybody needs a break.
Absolutely. You're so spot on with that. We are going to take a quick commercial break and hear from some of our sponsors. And then we'll be back on this beautiful Friday talking about depression in dogs and what we can do about it. So stay with us. We also have a graphic that you shared, Amina. I'm going to be excited to show that to our audience as well.
Wonderful. So glad.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diane Floyd Bame's A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at DianeFloydBame.com.
welcome back. We are so happy to have you here with us today at USA Global TV and Radio. Our show today is presenting pet psychic AMINAH, and I'm not going to delay anymore as I present her. Ba ba ba. Here she is again. Hello.
There we go. Hello. And hopefully you'll look back on your email, because this is something I'm working on right now. I want to share what my cat does while I'm working. And I sent you a picture.
All right, I'll go over to email and get that. While I'm doing that, why don't you talk a little bit about this?
Great. So what this is, if you look at the middle pet alert in case of fire, I got this from the emergency online, and you can get it through Canva. You can make one. You can get one from the police department, the fire department. What you're doing, of course, is you're checking, do I have a cat? Do I have a dog? Do I have a bird? Do you have something else? And emergency contact. Make sure you realize this is going on the outside of your home, or it's in a window so that first responders can see it, which means everybody else will see it. So remember that when you put out your email address or a phone number or something, make sure you understand that is going to be public. So do want to put any kind of thing. We're not living in the world where we all used to put these up and nobody cared, but we also weren't carrying around a camera and a phone number on our person that we could take pictures of. So what you're looking at is the version that I made for my cats. So when you guys are hearing all about Emma, there she is, right at the top. And then Rin is down there, and I actually got her to sit still while I rolled that little ball towards her. I just found a little ball. They hate it because it's so giant. So it is the only toy that survived. But she is so adorable. She usually, at night, she sleeps, lays on the carpet upside down while we're watching TV. It's so adorable. And then Jackson, he's laying on the stairs. So these were great, great pictures that I already had of my pets that we live with. But what so many people forget is the pets don't understand alarms. They don't understand smoke, except for they know it's fire. These are indoor pets. They're not going to be exposed to a lot of that rush and ready. Have your cat carriers, your dog carriers, your leashes. Usually with dogs that you walk, your leashes are hung right by the front door, and or they wear a collar. My cats don't do that. If we get into a crisis, two of them specifically, Rin and Jackson, will head for the hills, meaning in the depths of underneath the bed, against a wall, somewhere we literally will have a tough time finding him. And if you see Jackson, he's all jet black. So that little white tuft you can see on his tummy. So, we're going to get it back. So Jackson is almost impossible to see ever at all. He's so, he's so dark. He's so black that it's like having a ghost walk by who's not wearing a white sheet. His
eyes are piercing though.
I know. He's very serious. He's always very serious, especially if I come up to take a picture. He's like, okay, you again. And what you don't see, of course, this isn't video, is when he gets almost any cat, when he gets, you can see the tip of his tail. He gets that thing slap, 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 slap. The faster it goes, the more irritated he is. So it's either, don't play anymore. I don't want to play anymore. You keep trying to play with me and I don't want to play, or I just can't wait till you stop bothering me. Cats will give you signs. Dogs will give you signs if they're done with you. Now, Rin, being our little shy one, I have to walk very slow around her. I have to be very purposive. Now, she knows after 3 years, I'm going to, because this kitty used to be my other daughter's cat, and she got stuck in France for somewhere for the pandemic and is still there. So Rin is now living with us full time, but she's very shy. She will sit on the cat tree and watch the world go by. But I have to come up to her on purpose and say, hi, Rin, hi, this, hi. And she knows I'm going to come up and pet her at least 2 or 3 times a day. We've built that trust that I'm not going to scoop her up. I'm not going to pick at her. I'm not a child. So I can manage my emotions and check them at the door and be very calm and collected with her. And Emma at the top, she's our wild one. She's the newest one we adopted from a family who couldn't keep her. They were friends of ours, and she needed more energy and more everything. And these 3 cats are total night and day. And guess what? They get along beautifully. And that's nothing we did. Now, of course, we let them all introduce themselves one at a time. We take slow. There are paths, and we'll talk about that sometime. If you guys want to know how to introduce another pet, especially if you have a cat and then you want to add a dog or vice versa, that's a whole nother show. But Emma needs activity. She needs things to do. Otherwise, she gets in trouble. She ends up on counters she's not supposed to be on. So it's knowing these pets and knowing that they need to be supervised when they were first introduced. Of course they do, like anybody. But guess what? I also want them found when there's a fire or a flood, or God forbid, I'm away from home. My daughter and I are away from home. And we live on this real giant mountain hill with, 100 of our closest friends. But what happens if there's another fire up here? We've already had 2. Because we have a lot of dry grass around us. I need to know that the first responders can go in and get our pets, because at that point, they're not going to let us drive back up there. We have 2 roads, Dr. JACALYN, one on one hill and one on another. That's the only way to get up and down from here. So that's not enough in an emergency when you've got at least 150 people living up here. So our houses go straight up because living on this hill. But your pets, your first responders will be glad to assist you and your pets out of the house. But they can't take that time to choose you over your pet. I know a lot of us say, no, get the cat first. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that for liability, for reasons they're not cat people trained to do that. This is not their job. So you need to help them as much as possible. If you're out and the firemen are there and you say, my cat is still in there, I really wish you could go, when you go back in, could you look for him? If they're going back in to put the fire out, of course they can look for him. And I've seen firemen just tuck them into their jackets and their fireproof jackets, but they've got to know what they're looking for. Jackson's jet black. You add a little smoke to our off-white walls, that's really hard to find. So having a picture, not just I have 2 cats, I have 3 dogs, I have 4 hamsters, that's important. So they know they're looking for pets. They're looking for a terrarium. They're looking for the hamster cage, whatever. But if you can attach pictures, and again, it's as simple as I copied the picture off of the emergency line, and that's all online. You can get all of these alert things online. You can buy them all pre-made. But what I did is then put it into Canva, which is a creative modality. And then I added the pictures and I took the thing and I'll get it printed. That's really simple in this day and age. It's really, really simple just to mail it away as a photo, as a document, whatever it comes out to. I believe it's as a photo, and to have somebody print it and put it. Now, in my house, we have the garage in the back and my front door up on the street. So I would want one at least in both places. So I'd need 2 because my kitchen faces the back garage and the living room is in the front. So you don't know where the next fire is going to come from. You don't know where the next earthquake, as what we do in California, is going to come from, and you're not home or you are there. You can be rest assured that you put up the signage for them to know there's life in this house other than humans. And that is not a security breach, because I don't know of anybody who wants to steal my cats. So that's usually not a problem that way.
Yeah, that's so important. Now, if you have more than one entrance to your place, maybe put up one in the back, one in the front.
Exactly the point. Because I do have the garages in the back, and where I live, they have created a kind of a semi-triangle, just the way the parking and the garages were put together. So all my neighbors, all our garages face the back in kind of like a triangle. And all of us face a different street. So my next door neighbor 2 over is actually on a different street. And my next neighbor on the other side is on a different street. And the people in the back are on a different street. So we might be neighbors in garages. So if we have a fire, and let's say it affects 2 or 3 of the condos, you need to have a sign on both sides so that people know that there's a pet. If I saw one of these signs, and you need to make it in the really, really bright lime, or red colors that you see it in now. It's very eye-catching. And I kept a lot of white so they could see the check marks. So I can put that on. I can put it on digitally. I can put it on afterwards with buying a little cardboard thing. There's 100 ways you can mark that spot and just put it in your window. You don't have to tape it. Most windows have some kind of frame, and usually you can just slide them into place. The point I'm trying to say is, do it. It's simple. I'm trying to always make it so easy for all my pet parents. You'll find I do a lot of this. And Dr. Jacalyn, you'll get this reference. I'm going to MacGyver myself right out of not having to pay for it, but do it myself.
I love that. Yeah, you were talking about MacGyver before. Tell our audience again for people who missed it.
So this is an old TV show. I hardly saw any of them. I was too young. But this gentleman, MacGyver, seemed to make tools and spy things and everything, like out of a toothpick or out of a paper cup or whatever was at their resource. And that's what I'm saying. You don't need to always go to the most expensive pet store to get the most expensive pet food to have nutritious food. Check into all the food, look at what they're having, see what your pet needs, and shop around. We are so fortunate now. Uber will bring it to your door, whatever you want, and Amazon will ship it to you wherever you want, so you can truly do a lot of research. Talk to your vets, talk to the trainers that are dealing with food. I'm not dealing with food. I deal with the reactions to food, but I believe that every owner should have the right to feed what they feel is appropriate. And we just put up the big red flags against no sugar, no sugar, no sugar, and limit dairy. Dairy gives diarrhea to both cats and dogs. Depending on your animal, of course. I know somebody out there is just saying, "Oh, that mine can do that." Yeah, well, I'm allergic to caffeine, but I can eat as much chocolate as I want, and I can't have caffeine liquid though. You know how long it took me to figure that out? After I swelled up like a big tomato 4,000 times. Now I, as an adult, because we found this out when I was a child, but we couldn't figure out the source. What are all of us as kids drinking? Coke. I didn't know about 7-Up yet, but Coke, root beer is not a problem, but I had to stop drinking anything caffeinated. So why I'm not a coffee drinker? Never got the habit. I'm saving thousands of dollars, I gather, from not going out for coffee every day. But that's your pet's right too, to figure out, okay, this is what I like. This is what I need to eat. This is how balanced I can make it. So try that. Try to figure out what is healthy and balanced, and then you decide, because you're in charge of your pet. But you have to do the research. You have to talk to people who specialize. Talk to your vets. Read it. Google it. There's hundreds and hundreds of sites. There's so many wonderful. Jackson Galaxy. Absolutely adore this man's work and everything he's doing with cats. And we are on the same page about declawing and spay and neutering and rehousing, all of that. So these resources are as far as your cell phone or your computer. Either any way you get internet or the television, both Cesar Millan, who deals with dogs, and Jackson Galaxy, who deals with cats, are on all these platforms. And they're amazing. You would spend thousands of hours in dollars to go to them. And if you're lucky enough to to be able to afford, and they have the time because they both have TV shows on top of that and do a lot of free work. All of us do. I do a lot of free work because I want the animals to be cared for. People do stop me in public. Oh, well, I had this, and I get asked by other people that I'm usually with, why didn't you tell him to call you and make an appointment? I said, because right then and there, it was more important to answer their question than to be another person that says, oh, you can look it up in the library. I don't know if it's still done, but Dr. Jacalyn, do you remember when we were kids and the teacher would say, okay, you want to go do this and write this article? And you go, okay, I'm going to write this, and I'm in like 5th grade or something. And I'd say, this is a very unique book, blah, 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 blah. Uh-oh. How do you spell unique?
Go look it up.
You know, and they would say, exactly, go look it up. And my person would say, are you kidding? If I can't spell it,
right, how am I going to look it up? Exactly.
I can't even Google it now.
Exactly.
Well, Google's great. I'll go with, can I get a Q? I'm playing the game with the
Wheel
stars.
of Fortune or
I for 2.
Yes.
I mean, have you ever tried to spell the English language? QUE? What are they thinking?
You know, I thought QUE was a Scrabble word, but it's actually not. It's QUEUE. Get in Q. Or the pool cue is CUE, I believe.
Yes, it is. It is. And don't even get me started on those silent letters. You know, I have foreign family, and somebody I met married after he'd been here a few years, and they were still canoeing me. And I was like, no, no, we're not canoeing anybody. But there's a K. What's it for? I don't know.
We're canoeing, but we're not canoeing.
I just speak the language. I didn't make it.
I love what you shared also about coffee. I've never had a cup of coffee in my whole life.
Oh, good for you. I tried it when I was a counselor. You know, I'm the big camp away counselor. I was the youngest one on the squad, but I still was the tallest. and everybody drank coffee, and I thought, I'll give that a try. And after a while, you go, why? Why? I'm awake. I've always been this high energy, and this is actually pretty low for me, but I love our time together. And you know, and just so blessed. And I want to share with you, and I'll share with everybody, I got the biggest compliment from one of your other hosts, and she called me about, and of course I'm gonna forget her name, but she called me about, can you guess?
Teddy.
She called
Teddy,
me
her
about
dog.
Yeah, something that happened with her in public, and she called me from England, and we talked, and it was really fun. It was really fun to just be girls, you know, and talk about what we do. It was a lot of fun. So I just feel so blessed with the people we have and what we're doing, that we can laugh through it, that we can talk about really serious things and get the message out about, we want to save lives, whatever that means, getting you a better job, getting you a safe place, getting you knowledge, because guess what? Everybody can make a change when they know something. Not they guessed it, read it in a book. Reading's great. I'm all for that. Guessing's guessing. So don't guess. Just reach out to any of us, because we would love to help. Right, Dr. Jacalyn? That's what you're doing.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad that Madeline reached out to you. That's Madeline Chant, for anybody wondering.
Yes.
She is one of our team members. She is an internationally renowned singer-songwriter, vocal coach, and author of the book Star Child. So I think that's fabulous that there's no boundaries. She's over in the UK, and you're there in PST in California.
Well, and that's the fun part, because we're all like, okay. When she saw me online, I think, and I was doing some work, and she's like, oh, I got a pet problem. I really got to need to talk to somebody. I said, okay, but I don't know what time it is there. So what time's a good time? It's like, I don't know. She's talking to me at 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon.
Right.
But, just for all women, this came up in the questions, not just her pets. So I'm going to leave that one there. But also, I understand that not only she's had this problem. I see women across the border having this problem with not just going to a park and having your pet with you and people coming up, oh, hi, they're cute, that's wonderful, can I pet your pet? That's normal, that's stuff. But what happens when you get a person, and as women, it would most likely be men at any given time, and they decide to saddle up and walk down the street with you, or they're always seem to be popping out of their car when you get there to the park. Just things that I heard, not just through Madeline, but through other women. I was going, wait a minute. Your dog is not there to fend them all off. You're there to have a good time. And how do you put in boundaries? And how do you put in boundaries with animals? So we crossed over in our conversation about how we as women take our pets for walks, and how do we stay safe in a giant park that we're there at 5 o'clock at night and it's crazy, or they're just leaving and a stranger comes up to you to strike up a conversation, which is not a red flag in any way, shape, or form. But what happens when it goes on and on and on, or they're there every time you come from the park and you get uncomfortable? How do you, we talked about recalling our animal, getting them to come back. So women, I cannot stress enough, if you ever feel that in any place you're walking your pet, any place, or you're just going shopping, carry a whistle. I can whistle with my fingers, but that doesn't mean I can always have my fingers free. I wear braces most of the time when I am out. On the show, I don't do anything. I'm trying not to wave them around too much, but have some means to go up to some other woman. I know all of us would do it. I know, Jacalyn, you would do it. If some other woman I don't know came up to me and smiled, but was really kind of anxious and said, oh, hi, Karen, I haven't seen you in a long time. And they're looking like this, like this. Pick up the side cues and let's all be each other's back, have each other's back. And that's the same true with women who are going out with their pets, are still not feeling as safe as they should. So giving techniques for that. And Madeline brought out that conversation with me thinking, oh, that's right. I should write about that. Just women talking and working on how to keep training her own pet. And that was really a lot of fun.
What a great conversation that you two of you had. And, I'm so in favor of everybody connecting here. So for anybody in the audience who's watching or listening, if you'd like to join our team, please do join us. Go over to usaglobaltv.com, contact us. At least start with booking your session for a show and sharing your story. We have so many different shows with different topics, and we welcome you. So it's been a pleasure. Once again, another fabulous show. I really appreciate it. We've got your banner, but as always, as you know, for people who can't read or they can't see it, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Best way, and to find out more details about me, you can, of course, go on YouTube, see all the shows Dr. Jacalyn and I have done on StreamYard. We have them posted all up on YouTube. But my information, bridgingworld.us. So that, for anybody who is not looking at the computer or here listening to this audio, is BRIDGWORLDS 2018 at gmail.com is the email. And the only difference with the website is BRIDGINGWORLDS, all one word, not case sensitive, so I just do it in lowercase, .us, bridgingworlds.us.
All righty. Thank you so much. And thank you to each and every one of you out there who's watching, listening, or will listen later on a podcast. We really appreciate you. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you Friday.
Bye.